All right, hey there, it's the Buckeye Blitz, Fantasy Sports powered by DSP Media. I'm Jeff Fidoff. You can follow me on the X at Fit Happens, where you can find me there. Lots to talk about today. We are 13 days until Ohio State, Indiana, just 6 days till the start of the 2023 season. With that week 0 crap they do, not really many good games on there. You'll see Notre Dame host there playing against Navy in Ireland. That'll be the early one to watch, I guess. USC's in action against San Jose State. Another one you better keep an eye on just to watch Caleb Williams, see how he looks. But then it'll be 13 days until we get going with Ohio State and Indiana in Bloomington. The Buckeyes, the coaches talked a lot the last week at different stages of press conferences they had. And Ryan Day, normally deflected a lot like he usually does as far as who's winning the quarterback battle. Both guys are doing some things great. Both guys are doing some things they wish they could take back. That kind of talk right there. A lot of coach speak there. But hearing lots of positive things out of the defense. And Sonny Styles, who enrolled last year, graduated high school a year early, enrolled last year at Ohio State. And this dude's a freak. He's like 6'4", 200-some pounds, 220, I think is where he's at, maybe, if I'm not mistaken. A safety, defensive back. We move all over the place. And he's going to be an exciting player. Like I say, he graduated. He was playing last year at the age of 17 and had an impact in the bowl game against Georgia. But it's going to be a lot of fun to watch him this year. Monday, we might get an announcement about the starting quarterback. We'll see on that one if we get that on Monday or not. There's a chance that will happen. Looking at the timelines of when Day has normally announced these kinds of things, would line up with when he would do it. They had another scrimmage this past weekend. Not a lot of not with the media, so we have no idea what all went on there. But he may be ready to make an announcement on Monday. We'll see. It looked like early on it was going to be Kyle McCord's job. No matter what, Devin Brown was kind of had to make a bit of a rally after missing the spring game with the injury on his thumb. But according to all media reports, people have been there and watched things and talked to people. It's a very close race, and McCord's got the experience edge. But typically, if you've got the experience edge, you'd think that it would have been announced earlier than this. But McCord's the only one who started a game. He's the only one who's thrown meaningful passes for Ohio State. Devin Brown hasn't done that yet. And if there's such a gap in experience there, you would think that it would be Kyle McCord's job to lose, and maybe he should have wrapped it up already by now. But maybe reading too much into that. But we should get an announcement on that soon on who will be the starting quarterback. I expect both quarterbacks to play in the first 3 games because it's going to be at Indiana and the Youngstown State and Western Kentucky. Both quarterbacks should get experience in all those games, no matter who is named the starter. And then the Notre Dame game, the big one in primetime in week 4. They did announce the team captains for the 2023 season. 2 of them are repeat captains from last year. One's a new one. Tommy Eichenberg, he is the senior linebacker who's just a stud this year. Very important player. He's had a great career at Ohio State. 120 tackles last year, 12 tackles for loss, and 2.5 sacks. And Cade Stover, the other one who was a captain last year, the tight end, a captain again this year. He's one of these typical Ohio State tight ends that he comes in very hyped, and he's been very good. Don't get me wrong. But he comes in very hyped, and Ohio State tight ends just don't produce a lot of receptions and touchdowns. Doesn't mean they can't do it. They did it in high school, a lot of these guys, and they could go on to be great pros. I think Stover could be a very good pro tight end, but they focus a lot on the blocking. When you look at the weapons Ohio State has to throw the ball to and the weapons in the backfield, there's just not enough footballs to feed all the mouths. So Stover is a very good tight end, though. Great blocker. He's going to be a high draft pick in the NFL. A high draft pick, I think, second, third round is where he'll go. I wouldn't be surprised at all by that. The third captain, by the way, is Xavier Johnson, the wide receiver. And Xavier Johnson, he's had some injuries, hasn't done as much as he thought he would do. He also, by the way, got the Block O jersey, which is a huge honor for Ohio State. He gets to wear the Block O jersey this year. But since about John, now I've interviewed Johnson on the Fan on the radio station here in Columbus. You talk about a mature young man, got his head on right, very polite, and just knows what he's talking about. And he's got the right mindset. He could still be a guy who contributes to the NFL as well, even though, like I say, he hasn't had the career I don't think he envisioned when he came to Ohio State. He's one of the captains also, though, for the Buckeyes this year. 3 captains, Eichenberg, Cade Stover, and Xavier Johnson. Congratulations to those guys. black stripes. They do this with Ohio State. If you being a Buckeye fan, you would know this, but they the stripe on the top of their helmet, where you have normally the scarlet stripe there, it's they put a black stripe on it for freshmen. They have to earn it to get it off, to take that off. And it's a big deal when they do ceremonies with the black stripes coming off. And 2 players got their black stripes off this weekend. Noah Rogers, a wide receiver, is one of them. He is out of North Carolina, 6'2", 201. And he was a guy who was highly recruited. Alabama wanted him. I think Clemson, I know the team up north wanted him as well. He was the number 1 player in the state of North Carolina, number 8 wide receiver overall in the country. And he got here, and now he's got his stripe removed. Also, Caden McDonald, defensive lineman, he's here via Suwanee, Georgia. I'm sorry. And he took Ohio State over, I believe it's going to say Oklahoma. I know Florida, team up north, Clemson, all on him as well. He got his black stripe moved as well. Congratulations to those 2 gentlemen. Another piece of news here, speaking of Buckeye, future Buckeye, Aaron Nolan, who's the quarterback in the class of 2024 that committed to Ohio State. And he was recently upgraded to a 5-star. He was a 4-star, now he's a 5-star. He plays for Langston Hughes High School down in Georgia, but he's the big 2024 quarterback commit for Ohio State. Well, on Friday night, they played a game on national television against Carrollton, Georgia. Now, Carrollton, Georgia has a guy named Julian Lewis. They call him Juju. Juju Lewis is a quarterback for them. He's a sophomore this year, and he is considering Ohio State as well, so he's class of 2026. So those 2 quarterbacks went at it. Carrollton jumped out to a 22-0 lead early on, and then Langston Hughes and Nolan kept battling back. And finally, Nolan threw a game-winning touchdown pass. Well, it proved the game-winning touchdown pass. It didn't end right then, but with 1:11 left in the game, he threw a touchdown pass to put them ahead. They were up 39-34, and then Carrollton got the ball back. Now, you're talking about a minute left, and Juju Lewis drove them down the field. They actually got tackled inside the 3-yard line as the game ended. So they had a chance to win it right there, but a fantastic game, 39-34 in the game. Aaron Nolan. First name Prentice, by the way, but Air is his middle name, and that's what he goes by, which is a great name for a quarterback. He went 13 of 21, 162 yards, and 2 touchdown passes. Also ran for 23 yards. Julian Lewis, the sophomore, and again, just a sophomore, amazing. 20 of 30 for 186 yards in the loss, but a great game for both teams. It's just Aaron Nolan, they rallied back from the 22-0 deficit and ended up getting the win in that one. So, again, thanks so much for tuning in to the Buckeye Blitz here on FanStream Sports, powered by the DSP Media Network. And Monday might be a big day. We'll find out. We'll keep an eye on it. Any news we get on that, I'll be sure to pass on immediately through probably a YouTube short, and then we'll do an extended podcast on that later on, when or if they do name the starting quarterback on Monday. There'll be more coach sound, I'm sure, to get into. I can relay some of that to you, what things were said by the coaches and some of the players also in the press conferences. There'll be a lot going on this week. Like I said, we're 13 days out, folks. We're 6 days out from the start of college football. It's finally here. But follow me on the X at It Happens. And thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. All the things. Listen, like, subscribe, all these shows here. We've got a great stable of people on FanStreamSports.com. And thanks so much for tuning in.